Hearing about drug addicts, you think of people that are covered, like in scabs and stuff from drugs. And that's just what, I thought it was. And then until I became an addict.
Keenan Beckhart battled an opioid addiction for years. She tried medication to get clean, but at 7 months pregnant, she stopped treatments.
I was still pregnant with her, and I ended up relapsing on opiates. And so my daughter was then born exposed to opiates and heroin. That was the hardest thing ever. I had to watch her in the NICU for 10 days, just kind of coming down off the drugs.
She tried medication again, but Keenan found herself turning to opioids once more, this time with even more dangerous consequences.
I put my daughter in the car, I buckled her up. The firefighters and doctors had told my parents that I'd had a seizure that day. So I don't remember anything. I didn't think I was that high at the time. I didn't think that would affect my driving. But you think crazy things when you're on drugs. It took the jaws of life to get me and her out of the car. I ended up spending 10 days in the hospital here in Louisville, and they didn't know what was wrong with me. They thought I was gonna die.
Miraculously, Keenan's infant daughter escaped the crash unharmed.
The only thing in the car that wasn't touched was her. She didn't have a scratch on her.
Keenan says hitting rock bottom pushed her to get clean.
I got out of the hospital and I had CPS back in my life and I had nowhere to go.
Medication didn't work for Keenan, but what did was almost losing it all in her car crash. As the opioid crisis gets worse, doctors struggle to treat those dealing with addiction.
We have a variety of treatments, from being able to provide detox services to being able to get people into residential care, to having different forms of outpatient treatment for them. And we believe very strongly in making sure that people have access to medication-assisted treatment as well.
Keenan went to the Healing Place, a program that uses the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous and peer mentorship instead of medicine to help break addiction.
I saw people in front of me that had gotten sober, that had followed these, the 12 steps, and that if they could do it, then I didn't see why I couldn't. So I just kind of surrendered to God at that point and was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be sober. And I'm going to follow these people. I'm going to do what they're telling me to do. They have such a high success rate. It's worked for these people. I'm going to at least see if it can work for me. Everybody's paths are different. I had to try many different paths before I found the one that worked for me.
She now works there and has regained custody of her daughter, who just celebrated her 3rd birthday.
I did mess up with her. I know that I messed up, and I can never forgive myself for that, but I'm going to be the best parent that I can be and the best daughter that I can be, because that's all I can really do right now. I can't apologize for all the horrible things I did to them, but like I told them, I'm going to do everything I can to make it right.
This is Inside Edition, In Depth.